العالمين صلى الله وسلم وبارك على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Inshallah, tonight we will recite the entirety of Surah Al-A'raf, Surah number 7, from its beginning to its end, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. And Surah Al-A'raf, it is called Al-A'raf, which refers to the heights. And there's a discussion in this surah about these people who are the people of the heights, the people of the A'raf, who are a very unique category of people whose good deeds and bad deeds are exactly equal. So they did good and they did bad, but there's no one book that's heavier. So how are they going to be dealt with, and what is going to be their end result? That's what's mentioned in this surah. But along with that, there are lengthy stories that are mentioned, starting from our father Adam alayhi salam, his story in detail, followed then later by Nuh alayhi salam, Hud and Salih and Lut and Shu'aib and Musa with Fir'aun, then Musa with his people. The point being, all of these messengers, this is the first surah that they're mentioned back to back with some detail of their story. And this happens 3 times in the Quran. It happens here in Surah Al-A'raf, it happens in Surah Hud, and it happens in Surah Ash-Shu'ara. Now what's beautiful about, there's a lot to take from this, but I'll just select one ayah, ayah number 79 of Al-A'raf. This is Salih alayhi salam after his people have been punished. So the people have been punished and Salih alayhi salam has left. Because in Surah Hud we'll learn that ثلاثة أيام, they were given, the people of Salih were given 3 days. And they were told that your punishment is coming in 3 days. One of the wisdoms is that a prophet is forewarned and given time so that the prophet with the believers can leave town. So they are not punished. So obviously he would have left town. But the people have been punished, and this is Salih's reaction alayhi salam after he knows that his people have been destroyed. You'd think that at this point, as a prophet, as someone who feels that my people betrayed me, they did not believe in me, that Salih alayhi salam is happy, that he is saying, I told you so, see what happens when you don't listen to me, this is what you deserve. You'd think this is what the prophet is saying. But listen to what Salih says. فَتَوَلَّى عَنْهُمْ وَقَالَ يَا قَوْمِ لَقَدْ أَبْلَغْتُكُمْ رِسَالَةَ رَبِّي. He says that, O my people, O my beloved people. Now, you're going to say, how can he speak to the dead? But this is like the Prophet ﷺ, as the scholars of tafsir say under this verse, the way that he went to the mushrikeen after Badr and he was speaking to them. This is like when you hear that your friend that you were telling to stay out of trouble ends up getting caught. And maybe you can't even talk to that person anymore. Maybe they're behind bars. Maybe they fell to something which they lost their life. And you just can't help yourself in that moment. And you're like, I told you so. Didn't I tell you about this? You're talking to that person even though they're not there. So this is Salih alayhi salam's reaction. He's thinking about his people. Ya qawmi laqad ablagtukum risalata rabbi. O my people, I did my primary responsibility and I conveyed the message of my Lord to you. وَنَصَحْتُ لَكُمْ. But how did I convey it? There are only 2 things he mentions. One, I fulfilled my job. My job was to get the message across. But it's like his second job that he mentions on its own. وَنَصَحْتُ لَكُمْ. And I was sincere with you. And nasaha, sincerity, really doesn't explain what it is. Because when we hear nasaha or nasiha, we think it's advice. Like that's good nasiha, good advice. But nasaha in the Arabic language, actually the Arabs used to call an-nasih that honey which is pure. Right? We all still look for that honey. Like, hey, you know which honey is like organic, there's no preservatives, I want the best of it. That honey which has no preservatives, it's not mixed in with anything else. That's called a nasih. And so nasaha is when you're giving advice and there's complete sincerity, meaning there's nothing mixed in your heart for that person. It's only good and good for them. That's the state of the Prophet's heart for his people. He only wants good for them. And not only that, it's not that he wants good for himself. He has a benefit in there himself. Because he wouldn't say nasahtu lakum. He didn't say I was sincere for you. He would then say, as the Shaykh al-Sha'rawi rahimahullah mentions, that he would then say that I was sincere towards you and myself. He doesn't say that. He says, no, I was sincere towards you. I only had your well-being, my care, and my concern for you. That's what I had in my heart for you. وَلَكِنْ لَا تُحِبُّونَ النَّاصِحِينَ. But that's the problem. Most people don't like these types of people. If you say things as they are, and by the way, this is one of the themes, the prophets always say things as they are. Very clear. But they're always the gentlest and the most caring for their people. And that's very, very hard to do because we do one of two things. Either we sugarcoat things and we don't say it how it is and we praise the person. Or if we're going to say it how it is, you're like, oh, listen up, this is how it is. Because I'm telling you the truth now. But the prophets, they always speak the truth. They say things clearly. But they always do it in the most loving manner. وَلَكِنْ لَا تُحِبُّونَ النَّاصِحِينَ. But that's the problem. The person that tells you things straight, even if they love you, even if you know they're sincere, it hurts and it stings and you don't like it. Later on, you might think about it, but you don't want to hear it. Now, the last point is that you'd say, well, this is an easy job, right? Because talking to people, prophets should do this. But if you follow throughout tonight, every prophet that's mentioned, his people give him abusive and disgusting remarks. They call him, إِنَّا لَنَرَاكَ فِي ضَلَالَةٍ. We see you as misguided. فِي سَفَاهَةٍ. We see you literally as a stupid person, as a safi, as a foolish, ignorant person. This is how the people are talking to their prophet. They're not just respectfully disagreeing. And then keep in mind Salih's response, alayhi salam, أَنصَحُ لَكُمْ, or نَصَحْتُ لَكُمْ. And so this is an important principle for us in our dealings with our family, with our friends, with non-Muslims, with anyone that we are trying to convey something good for. One part of it is conveying the message, like Salih alayhi salam said, لَقَدْ أَبْلَغْتُ لَكُمْ. The other part is how you convey the message. And that's equally as important because he mentions that with it. And so the way we go ahead and convey that message, that is going to be a significant factor to determine if we are aligned with the prophetic method or not. And that's who our example is. That's who we want to follow. We want to be aligned with the method of the prophets. And we ask us Allah Azza wa Jalla that He make us from those that do align with their principles. Wa sallallahu wa sallam wa ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam.